Hello, good morning. Thank you very much. So my name's Karen Gibson. I head up client relationships for the Asda to You proposition. And I also face into some of our consumer-led solution design as well. So I guess I'm quite fortunate working for Asda for lots of reasons. One is it tends not to need any introduction. Most people know what we do. Most people are familiar with the green letters that sit on our buildings. But just to remind us really, we've got over 650 store locations across the country. We have 20 million customers who come into those stores every week. And we have some really robust infrastructure that sits behind that, as you can imagine, to enable that to happen. Of course, George.com is something that's instantly recognisable. We were having a conversation earlier about the fact that we've all kind of grown up with Asda. We've all grown up with George clothing in our stores. And I think for many of us who've had kind of back to school events, then we've obviously partaken of some of our back to school clothing and accessories too. And that really is kind of the crux of where some of our problems started from a logistics point of view, because up until the event of online, we had it quite easy. My logistics partners won't thank me for saying that, by the way. But we did, because you know what? We were taking big trucks into our stores every single day. Our biggest stores were getting 6 and 7 trucks a day. So you know what? We had that absolutely nailed. And we're quite fortunate in the fact that we own and operate about 97% of our own infrastructure, so warehousing and trucks out on the road. And then what happened was we decided that we needed to take a footstep into the world of online. If I'm honest, we were quite late in doing that. So we went into that in about 2009, and we got a really strong George.com offer in terms of in-store, but we realised that we had to do something to really keep up with the market. And so we put our first footprint, if you like, in the ground there. And you know what? We did what most people did at that time. We went out to carriers and we spoke to them about how we could launch an online service, because it seemed the most sensible thing to do. We didn't have any experience in direct to consumer. We went out to the experts in that field, and you know what? We did a really good job of doing that. And we launched the George.com website and Asda Direct then in 2009 with a good number of partners. And we did something really interesting in that we watched and we learned what was going on with our customers, and we noticed that customers were doing a number of things. One, they liked it. We probably should have gone to that earlier. They really liked to order from us online. But secondly, they really liked to collect in our stores. But you know what? We weren't getting an absolutely fantastic service in terms of being able to control that experience for our customers. So we thought, what would we do to make that better? How could we capitalise on the fact that we knew that our customers really liked our in-store experience? Because at this point, over half of our customers were actually coming into stores to be able to collect their items, even though they'd ordered on the internet. So many of you who work in logistics will know that it is really, really difficult to create efficiencies in any sort of network, particularly when you have a value proposition like we do from a George perspective. So we took a decision about 5 years ago to bring that in-house. And we did that really successfully. We did that successfully for a couple of reasons. One, because we have this really robust infrastructure. And secondly, because we know that our customers really liked it. So they were absolutely more than happy to continue to adopt and continue to grow that service for us. And we did that for a couple of years. And what we did in the background was we tied together bits of infrastructure. We did what most people do when they bring something in-house. We taped things together and we re-architected little bits of it in the background. And it worked to a point, except if we moved something a bit quickly, or if a customer came into store a little bit too early. And if they did that, we kind of lost the sight of what was going on. We always got away with it, because guess what? The parcel was always in the back of the house. But unfortunately, we didn't give them the greatest service. And so we went to our exec and said, we really need to do something about this. We're now 60% of our click and collect deliveries are actually coming into our own store. So therefore, we need to think about, as this grows and as we gather pace, how do we make ourselves fit for the future? And it kind of looks a bit like that now. We were very lucky in that we were able to start with a blank piece of paper. We don't do that very often, particularly in logistics, because we always end up having to recycle something because somebody spent the budget on marketing usually. And so we were able to kind of say, okay, if we had a perfect world, if we were able to kind of start from the very beginning, how would we do something? And we said what we do is we give ourselves more control and visibility, because that really was the thing that was holding us back, not being able to see everything that was happening in our own network the whole of the time. And even with our partner carriers, that was again a big cause of frustration. So we started at the very beginning, and we engaged our customers and we engaged our colleagues in how we were going to make this work and make it work better. Customers told us something very, very simple. We just want to have the convenience of coming into a store and having a really, really simple journey. We like technology, we want to adopt technology, but only where it's relevant to me. Don't put something in front of me that's very complex to use. Give me something that's intuitive. That's what customers told us. Colleagues, bizarrely, told us the same thing. They told us they were really busy in store, and what they wanted to do is they wanted to be able to really serve our customers better by making it easier to have that view on what was going on. So we started from the customer and we worked right the way back. And what we created was a complete landscape of events that allows us to have a bird's eye view of what goes on. So every part of our system is available to us to see exactly what's going on at any moment in time. And every part of the system as well has an event attached to it. And if the event doesn't happen at a certain point in time, we know that event hasn't happened and we can do something to make sure that it does. What we're really trying to do all of the time is minimize any customer impact. So anything we can do to keep that on track, we do. And we have a service experience team who are based up in Rochdale who basically look at this 24/7 to ensure that we keep all of our trucks, all of our deliveries, all of our parcels on their way to stores every single day. And that goes right the way through. So if it enters through our fulfillment centre, goes through to sortation, goes into depot, and then it goes out to our stores. The technology starts at right at the very beginning and it ends where we put it in front of a customer. So when a customer comes to press one of our kiosk screens in store or signs their name on a tablet inside our store with one of our colleagues, that's all of our technology all tied together right in the background. So it gives us a greater amount of control. It also allows us for the first time to be able to get some really, really interesting insight as well. Because the great thing about customers is that they'll always tell you what they like and what they don't like. Sometimes they tell you what they want, but often what they do tells you something different. Somewhere in the middle of that is how you need to start shaping your proposition. So, amid much anticipation, we launched Asda to You about 2 years ago. We launched it first for our George.com business, and we really wanted to understand how customers were going to receive the service and how they were going to adopt it and how they were going to really fit with the new technology that we introduced to them. Our mantra has always been making things easy. Our customers told us that right at the very beginning, so that was really important to us to ensure that we kept that at the forefront of everything that we did. We launched, like I said, a couple of years ago for George.com. The response was phenomenal. We saw, again, another step change in terms of the way that customers were using that service. We saw them interact with our colleagues differently, and we saw our colleagues change the way that they interacted with our customers because we'd made life easier for them in store as well. And then we thought, I wonder what it's going to be like from a third-party perspective, because we'd not actually dipped our toe in the water of that. We'd launched all of this, and we'd had it in the back of our mind we were going to launch it to third-party retailers, but we'd not dipped our toe in the water, and we did that in a very soft launch way January of last year. And we have had a phenomenal response to that. As we sit here today, because we got another partner live this morning, we've got 22 partners live on the website, and 22 partners live on the proposition for a combination of returns and collections. It's interesting because being a retailer, we've always been able to get comment from our own customer base. We've always been able to do listening groups, gather insight. For the first time ever, we're able to do some listening with some of our partner retailers too. Their customers really like the service. They've adopted it, in a phenomenal way. And they tell us what they like about it is they like the simplicity of it. They like the fact that they can do something else whilst they're dropping their parcel off or picking their parcel up. And we're seeing this growth continue at a real rate of knots actually through the proposition. What we've also seen that we didn't expect, because we thought they'd like the service, because our customers like the service. What we didn't expect to start to see the changing behaviours from an industry point of view. We didn't expect to see retailers suddenly decide to do something in a very different way. Because we've always kind of looked to the stalwarts, if you like, of the industry to be able to collect and return. Suddenly, we're seen as a very credible alternative, and we didn't think we'd get to that point quite so quickly. So this year, we've seen some interesting moves from our retailers. We've seen, dare I say it, Royal Mail labels taken off returns notes. We never thought we'd see that. But such was the confidence in what we were doing, and such was the absolute kind of hysteria almost in some areas of kind of, we've got to get to this quickly, because you know what? We're not getting the contact rates when we use Asda that we were getting with other services. So we can actually redeploy our contact centre teams in much better ways. We can be more proactive in what we do from a customer service point of view. So we didn't think we'd see that massive change in behaviour, and it's been a real step change quite so quickly. We've also seen changing behaviour from customers as well, because of course they can now trip chain much more things into an event, like going to collect something or return something to an Asda store. So it's been a really, really interesting time for us. And I talked about that growth. What's probably most surprising is that within the first 18 months of launching for third parties, that volume now makes up 25% of our total collect and return in store. It's incredible, it really is. So we've been massively surprised by the uptake. And we're now learning so much. Because we've got this huge body of parcels coming into us every day, and we're working with 22 other brands, understanding customer behaviour, understanding what's driving those decisions is now becoming really, really apparent to us. And of course, that's helping us to shape the future. What do customers tell us? This won't be a shock to it. If it is, I'll be so amazed. This won't be a shock to anybody. Customers just want simplicity and convenience. And we think our offer's really convenient. The great thing about our services, we said it right at the very beginning, most people know where their most convenient Asda store is. Most people will pass an Asda store 2 or 3 times a week. If not, you might fill your car up at one of our filling stations. It's kind of embedded in what we do. We understand about Asda. There's a bit of a trust queue as well that we're finding when we put Asda on someone's checkout, or when we put Asda on a returns label. There's this immediate jump to, I know what I'm getting there. I understand how that works. There's something quite nice about going into a store that you're familiar with and handing something over if it's a return to a colleague, knowing that it's going to be safe and secure at the back of house. So we short circuit a lot of that debate of where's my nearest one, because you don't need to put your postcode in and work it out. You usually pass the 4 green letters somewhere on your journey. And then also things like extended opening hours. Being able to park was one of the things that customers really called out. You don't have to make it a 2-man job to return a parcel anymore. You can park up knowing that it's well lit, it's safe, secure, you can walk into store. They really like that, and they call that out. So often it's untrue. And drive-throughs, so again, we have over 300 drive-throughs attached to our stores. What was very interesting when we did the listening with our customers was they said to us, my buying mission on a Monday is quite different to my buying mission on a Thursday or a Friday. My Monday buying mission is quite functional. I want to get in there and get out again. If I've got something to collect, I'll do it with the least amount of contact that I possibly can. So drive-throughs are really emerging as something that's setting us apart. In addition to that though, on a Thursday and Friday, I might go for a wander around. I might have ordered something, I might have ordered some clothing. I might take it to a bigger shop because actually I can use their changing rooms while I'm there. I can try on and I can send back what I don't want in the one visit. And I can do that in a Dropbox as I leave the store. And I can print off a label if I haven't got one in my bag, because we can do that already in our stores. Oh, and guess what? This year we launched QR codes. Our customers love the QR codes because, as Peter quite rightly said, much more of our shopping is done online and much more of our shopping is done on our mobile devices. So why, when we're returning something, would we get our customers to do something different? Why wouldn't we get them to do that on a device that they're really familiar with? So being able to go on there, develop a QR code, print that off in store for yourself, and know that all of your information's gone to your retailer, we thought was pretty neat. Our customers think it's fantastic. They're really, really getting on board with that, and we're seeing, so we track how things are returned to us, and we're seeing a huge spike in terms of QR code returns. The way we built that service was to enable the future. So, any future development that we have, whether that be quicker refunds, that type of thing, will be built on the back of being able to secure your return on that QR code. And of course, we have passport technology. Anything like me, I get 1 million emails a day. Don't know who most of them are from. If I go to collect something, I am frantically searching through my inbox to try and find the ready to collect email. You can add ours to your passport. When you come onto one of our stores, it flips onto the lock screen of your phone. And of course, guess what? You don't have to go floating through your emails. You're there, it's all prepared. Again, customers call that out as being a really, really convenient element of our service. And simple. Again, what customers told us was they don't want to add complexity into what they're doing. A bit of a mantra for us as a business is, if we can't get the message across to customers in 3 easy steps, we've done something wrong. And the way that we look at solution design is we start from the customer and we work back. Because what happens when you do it the other way is you add loads of complexity into it, and then by the time you get to the customer, you're having them doing all sorts of things. Start with the customer, work back is the way that we've designed our solution. What does all this mean from a collection point of view for our customers? What do they tell us? Not waiting in for parcels is that is kind of so last year as far as our customers are concerned. 75% of our customers are Asda George customers come into store to collect their parcels. And guess what? We see that rise in peak. So in peak, we see that spike at about 85–90% of customers are coming into store. They're probably doing that because they're going to buy some food and some drink for the holiday season. So it's really, really convenient for them. Being able to have something waiting for you is a theme that customers talk to us about. What really surprised me was that only 40% of customers come in and collect on day one. They only come in on day one if they really, really wanted it. We find that the other customers come in somewhere between day 2 and 5. They let that parcel wait for them. So thinking about is a next day service always what they want, or did they just want to get the right product at the right price and be sure they got it? And we use that analysis when we're thinking about our sale period. So do we relax our proposition in sale period to really smooth what happens in our logistics centres and still delight our customers because they got the right product at the right price? And we're now talking to some of our retail partners about that. And they're really interested in what they're going to do around Black Friday and Cyber Weekend. And will they do that? Because actually, their insight also tells them that their customers just really wanted a really great deal. So we're really interested in understanding how customers use our service. I guess overarching all of that is the fact that we live in a very me-centric society. And being able to do something on our own terms is something that we really want to be able to do. Having that control over our own destiny, trip chaining into something else is something that customers tell us that they really want to do more of. And when we asked them about returns, that was a bigger picture altogether, because if you think they don't want to wait in for their collections, my goodness, they really don't want to be inconvenienced from a returns point of view. They told us that they hate making special journeys. They told us that when they want to return, actually what they told us was that before they've even received the parcel, they're thinking about how to return it. And if there isn't a really good return solution, they won't buy it. So that's the first thing they told us. And then they said, if I have to make a special journey, it's a bit of a nightmare for me, and I don't want to do that because I've lost all emotional attachment to that parcel the minute I don't want to buy the item anymore. I just want to get it back and get my refund. And they told us that making it simple, easy, quick and convenient was something that they really, really wanted. Having the opportunity to be able to download a QR code, scan your parcel, drop it in a drop box, and know that it's safe and secure on the way back was something they told us they really wanted. And we're continuing to develop that side of our business. We see returns as being our biggest opportunity over the next 12 to 18 months. The feedback we get from retailers in terms of barriers to sale is that returns stop most barriers to sale. When they do the insight into abandoned baskets, not having a really great return solution always comes up. Interestingly as well, when they're looking at driving basket value, and we see this from ourselves being a value proposition, if we want to drive basket value, we have to give a really strong returns offer. So we see returns as being really, really exciting over the coming 12 to 18 months. And we mentioned QR code. This is just a fantastic service. Our customers are adopting it, literally kind of migrating across from that to print at home. Because if you're really honest, most of us don't have a printer at home. If we've got a printer, we've not got ink in it. So it's not that convenient. Being able to kind of generate everything on your mobile phone. You can do that on your way home from college on the train. This was a big theme. We want to get our time back. We don't want to have to make anything that interrupts our day interfere with what we're doing. We thought about this a lot in our stores, and we're thinking about it continually in our new formats. So if you go into one of our stores now, you'll see we've got a number of different ways of interacting with us. You can do that via self-service. Lots of our customers use self-service. If you're not quite as confident or you don't want to do that, or it's a smaller format store, guess what? We've got colleagues in store that can help you with that as well. From a returns point of view, we have drop boxes so you can scan and go really, really quickly. But we need to ensure that we stay ahead of the game with that, and we're looking at how we put together a parcel hub within a store format. How do we get all the right things in all the right places coming together at the same time from a customer point of view? How do we orientate our customers to the right place in store? And how do we make sure that we turn those customers around as quickly as possible? Because what customers tell us is this: if you keep me waiting longer than 5 minutes to make that transaction, whether it's a collection or a return, you've lost me as a promoter. I might not use it again unless I really have to. But if you turn me around really, really quickly and I'm on my way, I'll use it again because it's really convenient. I'll particularly use it again if I'm doing something else at the same time, if I can go and pick up my bread, my milk, the glasses, whatever that might be, prescriptions. Customers are really, really direct on what they want and how they want it. And they don't want to spend time chasing something either. They want to have clear tracking information for the return and the collection. And we're really, really, really interested in how we continue to make that work. Our insight tells us that we currently turn customers around in about just under 3 minutes. But of course, averages mask what's really happening. We know we turn a lot of customers around much more quickly, and we know that some customers are still waiting that little bit longer. So how we invest in the future and how we invest in what that experience is like in store is really important to us. And we talked about the future. So because we've had this huge advantage of having 18 months of working with other retailers, we feel we're really getting a handle on what customers want now. And we always start with the customer. Customers tell us that they want to be able to get refunds quicker. The bonkers thing about this is they want to get refunds quicker so they can order again. It's really bizarre, but just having that surety of something coming back. And when we started building our QR technology, we thought about that, and we thought about how we'd be able to get access to inventory, be able to get access to maybe VIP lists, that type of thing, to give customers a really great service from a refund perspective, but also give the control back to retailers too. You know, I might think that I'm going to refund Peter straight away. He's reliable. He always puts what he says he's going to put back in the parcel. Everything's always retail ready. I'm going to refund Peter immediately. I might not do that with someone else. But being able to have the technology to do that and make those decisions to really lock customers in is becoming a real theme, and we're really excited about doing that. And what about being able to reorder instantly as well? What about being able to keep that customer as a customer and reorder at the point of return? Was it the wrong size? Was it a different colour you wanted? Or do you just want to get something that's new in? Do you want to have a look at that at the same time? How do we keep that sales cycle going all of the time? And an instant collection. It's quite interesting that I've not said same day, by the way, because a lot of customers tell us they don't particularly want something same day. Unless, of course, that it's an emotive item, so a new piece of technology might be a good example of that. What if you could store stock strategically around our network and you could call that stock off? What if you could have it placed in there, sell it on your website and make it available to your customers within the hour? We think that would be really neat, and our customers think that would be really neat too. And some of the retail partners we're working with really like that idea. And that next thing is, how do we continue to speed up collection times? So we're gonna put some technology in some of our stores between now and Christmas. We're gonna trial a few things. We're looking at how we continue to scale the business and make it relevant to the customers that we're working with. And we're really excited about doing that. And I guess we're also thinking about the retail partners that we work with. Retail partners are telling us a couple of things. They're telling us that They want to keep customers in their environment as much as possible. And if they can't keep customers in that environment, then they want the environment and the brand to feel like they're still dealing with that retailer. So thinking about how we just don't configure communications, but how we configure that whole customer journey to make it feel like a complete brand experience is something that we feel is really important dealing with the retailers that we're dealing with. We've already started on that journey. So the fact that you can customize email and text communication was just one step on that journey. Now, if you land on our tu.co.uk website and you go into our partner pages, you'll see that they look a little bit like the brands. They don't look like an Asda brand, definitely. They don't look like a TU brand. They look like the brand you've landed on, even to the point where we have a product carousel. So customers can still be shopping with their retailer when they're on our website because they can deep link out and buy that product straight away. We can embed things like social media feeds, and we can put in there how-to videos or videos of the latest products. So keeping that brand experience alive right the way through that chain is really important, and that's something we want to spend more time developing. I guess the last thing for me to talk about, because this was a frustration for us as a retailer, is we want to open that insight up to our retailer partners. We want to give them something that they can action to game change the experience of their customers. And we're working with them now as to exactly how they want that information presenting and what do we need to gather and how do we use that information crucially, how do we use it to really change what customers do in our stores. I hope you found that useful. It is something that we're really proud of as a business. I guess it's just an example of how logistics can really lead the way in ways that you maybe didn't anticipate when it comes to customer experience. And we're really excited about the next 12 to 18 months of our proposition because we've got some really exciting stuff lined up.